How we doing, Rams fans? Welcome into another episode of the Los Angeles Rams Insider Podcast here on Sports Illustrated and Fans First Sports Network. My name is Tom Cavanaugh, and we today are going to be talking a little bit about some game day storylines ahead of this Rams-Eagles matchup on Sunday Night Football in Week 12, and then also looking around the NFC West Division, checking out the matchups. All four teams are playing, and it's a really tight division at the moment. You got the Cardinals at 6-4 at the top, and every other team, the Niners, Seahawks, and Rams, all tied at 5-5, knotted up for second place. I think you'll like our predictions because, boy, we'll throw a wrench in some plans when it comes to predicting who's going to win this division. You can follow myself, Tom Cavanaugh, at TCAV30 on Twitter/X. Go over and follow our insider pages on Twitter/X and Facebook at Rams Insider on SI. And then just type into your search bar Rams Sports Illustrated, and you'll find our site. Where all of our articles are posted on a daily basis, dozens of them every single week. So first, we'll kick it off, starting with some storylines. Going to talk about offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles, Kellen Moore. He spoke on Wednesday, media availability. He was giving his thoughts kind of on the defense, what he's expecting, and then also against one of his former teammates when he was a quarterback in the NFL in the early 2010s. So to start, I mean, when you look around this Rams defense, there's several guys to highlight. But Moore, he went after one guy that has made waves in his first year, and that's rookie linebacker Jared Verse. He mentioned, jokingly, he said that, it's better that the Rams he doesn't have to work against Aaron Donald anymore, who retired at the end of last season. But he said that the Rams have done an excellent job this year, just kind of re-upping their production. After a guy like Donald leaves, and you're able to grab two huge rookies in Verse and Braden Fisk at the top of the sack totals amongst rookies in the NFL so far this season. I mean, he really tipped his cap just to the Rams organization being able to get that turnover so quickly and keep a consistently strong defense. But, I mean, he really keyed in on Verse. He's quoted saying he's got a relentless motor. Premier player in this league. I think you definitely see it in him and a number of other guys on the defensive line. It's also talking about Braden Fisk and a few others as well that have really wreaked havoc on the defensive side. This Rams team coming off a 3-sack performance against the Patriots and quarterback Drake May. Eagles are much better than the Patriots have been this year in allowing sacks, but it's also a guy in Jalen Hurts under center for the Eagles that can run the football. So if he's flushed out of the pocket, he's a little bit more mobile than what we saw from Drake May last week. So Moore, he's going to be ready for this defense. He knows the guys that are going to be drive killers, the point preventers. Didn't talk so much about the secondary, even though it's been pretty solid this year for the Rams. He more keyed in on the defensive line and that front that's going to be blitzing against Hurts. So they'll be asking Saquon Barkley, a few of their other guys to pick up some blocks. The Eagles will throw the ball a lot, even with a running back like Barkley. You saw it last week against the Commanders. I mean, Saquon had a great day as well, but, I mean, they were slinging the ball all around. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, all those guys, just key weapons in a team that's won 6 games in a row. The Eagles have been a very tough team to beat for the last month and a half, and they haven't lost. So, I mean, this team is always capable of laying an egg. I don't think it comes from the offensive side of the ball. It's going to be more on the defense holding back the Rams, because I think the Rams have another great game. I don't know if Stafford throws for another 4 touchdowns, but I think Kyren Williams gets going. Cooper Kupp replicates his day from last week. He has 80 to 90 yards with a touchdown score. A couple other guys will get in there. Colby Parkinson, he stepped into a huge role at tight end. He's going to get some catches as well in big moments. We're not talking predictions just yet for this game, but it's just kind of how I'm early seeing how this one goes at SoFi Stadium. Moore also talked about, as we teased just a minute ago, his former teammate, quarterback Matthew Stafford. They were in Detroit together from 2012 to 2015. So Kellen Moore's had a few stops along his playing and coaching career. He was one of the best quarterbacks coming out of 2012 with Boise State, went undrafted, actually, and then signed to the Lions. He was battling for a backup spot with Dan Orlovsky, did not win that spot, but he was still on the practice squad and still working through for a couple of years with Stafford working alongside him. So he talked about playing with Stafford and just kind of complimented the guy on his ability and what he's been able to do. He said he's one of the premier quarterbacks in this league. Fortunate to be around him for a few years in Detroit. And what I always learned so much from him when I was in the room with him was just how much work went into it during the week. He said Matthew's preparation is very rare. The work he puts into it, the amount of film he watches, I think he's got an excellent feel for the game. His ability to make adjustments at the line of scrimmage and control the whole operation is very rare. That's just a little tidbit of what he had to say. But this is going to be interesting because more, obviously, when you coach against the guy, it's one thing. But when you're in the film room, you're breaking it down. You're on the practice field, and you're seeing every single little tendency and thing that Stafford will do when trying to command an offense. That's huge. So Moore's going to have, even though he's not going to be scheming up plays against Stafford, he'll be able to talk to defensive coordinator Vic Fangio, head coach Nick Sirianni, and key them in on a few things that he has seen over the years. Now, granted, it's been over a decade since they were together, really, so things might have been different, but at the same time, I mean, Stafford, he's the same guy, so there's going to be things that he is relating back to that he did early in his career, and it's just a cool storyline just to see Moore stacking up against one of his former teammates. We're going to take a look now around the NFC West this week. All four teams will be playing. There is one interdivisional game that is between the Arizona Cardinals in first place at 6-4, taking on the 5-5 Seattle Seahawks. But we'll start with San Francisco. The Niners going to be on the road against the Green Bay Packers. 5-5 are the Niners, and 7-3 the Packers. Packers really should be 6-4. The kick at the end of the game in their divisional matchup last week against the Chicago Bears, just an unfortunate situation for Chicago. They really needed that win. They hadn't beaten the Packers in years. I'm talking like decades. I think Matt LaFleur is 13-0 against the Bears, but that's off topic. Green Bay's been playing great football. I mean, sitting at 7-3, that's a great record. They do have a 500 record. They're 3-3 at Lambeau Field this year. And the Niners, uncharacteristic loss last week, only scored 17 points against the Seahawks, where McCaffrey had almost 80 yards rushing. The offense got going. You had two guys over 75 yards through the air. Juwan Jennings had a great game. This Niner team just finding ways to lose ball games, where on the other side, this Packers team is finding ways to win them. Contrary to all of that, I see the Niners coming out with a win in this game. The Packers, I mean, Jordan Love for them has just continued to throw interceptions. He's a liability at the quarterback position from time to time. And, I see him making a few big mistakes in this game, and the Niners taking advantage. I think Brock Purdy has a great game. He'll find McCaffrey in the end zone once or twice. Kittle, I know he's been questionable the last couple of weeks. He'll have another great game. The Niners, got to get a win this week. I think head coach Kyle Shanahan schemes it up very well and is able to get a win on the road in Lambeau, just like three other teams have already done this season. So that would move the Niners to 6-5. And then we move on to this Cardinals and Seahawks game. And this is where things get interesting. Arizona going on the road to Seattle. Seattle just went on the road to San Francisco, and they got a win. So Seattle coming back home 5-5, Lumen Field, 12th man. I really like the Seahawks in this one. I do. The Cardinals, they're coming off a bye week, and everything tells you, it points to, hey, pick the team that's coming off the bye week. But you got to root for chaos a little bit, can't you? So the Cardinals, 4 wins in a row off a bye week. Everything looks perfect for them, and that is why they're going to lose this ball game. Seattle comes out. Geno Smith's going to have a great game. Kenneth Walker, give me 100 yards and 2 scores. Seattle at home, they win their second straight game after back-to-back losses. They move to 6-5. And what do you know? The Cardinals move to 6-5. So right there, you got all 3 teams that we've talked about already at 6-5 in the division. And that just leaves us with the Los Angeles Rams, who sit at 5-5 against the 8-2 Eagles. And we were just doing a little predicting a minute ago about this Rams-Eagles game. And you got to root for it. You got to root for the chaos. Give me the Rams, 6-5. Every team in the division is tied up at 6-5. The Eagles fall to 8-3, snapping their 6-game winning streak. I just have a feeling, I mean, this Eagles team, they're playing incredible football. They cannot be stopped. They were on the ropes against the Commanders in the fourth quarter. It was an interesting game last week on Thursday Night Football. 12-10 game. Commanders have the ball. could have kicked a field goal to take a 1-point lead. Went forward on 4th down, turned the ball over, bad field position, gave the Eagles a short field. They go down, score a touchdown. They double down again with Barkley getting in one more time. And the Eagles ran away with a big win there to take down a team in their division that was really vying for a title in a bounce-back year with their rookie Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. So Eagles, everything looks great for them, just like we were saying with the Cards. Give me the Rams. I think Matthew Stafford continues to play well. This offensive line is only getting healthier. If you look at the depth chart, Rob Havenstein, the captain offensive tackle, should be back this week. That is major for this team. Steve Avila, he's only given up 1 quarterback pressure in his last 2 games since his return. That's big time. Joe Noteboom might be able to get in there. I know Jonah Jackson, we talked about him getting benched yesterday. He's back in the starting lineup on the depth chart at the center position. I think this offensive line is only getting healthier. You got Demarcus Robinson, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua. You got Kyron Williams in the run game. Give me the Rams in a close one. They lost their last primetime game back in Week 10 to the Miami Dolphins, a very uncharacteristic loss. I don't think they let that happen again. I think the Rams get it done. They move to 6-5. Eagles fall to 8-3, snapping their 6-game winning streak. And every single team in the division is going to be tied up at 6-5 at the end of Week 12. I mean, if that's how it works out, how about it? I mean, that would be a nightmare just for for bettors looking at the NFC West, who to win the title, and then also just for any the media members, including myself, to kind of gauge who's going to win this. You'd have to look at the last 6 games on the schedule for each team. I know the Rams have kind of a gritty schedule with 3 divisional games in their last 4. They also play the Buffalo Bills, New Orleans Saints. They're becoming a better team under their interim head coach. But every other team's going to have to play tough games too. And if the Rams were able to beat the Eagles, they show they can beat anybody in this division. I'm sorry, in the NFC, maybe even in the entire league. So Rams, they took the Detroit Lions in Week 1 down to the wire in overtime. They can compete with the best of them in prime time. Every team at 6-5 across the NFC West Division after Week 12. It's going to be a good one. Folks, this has been the Los Angeles Rams Insider Podcast. Follow myself, Tom Cavanaugh, once again at TCAV30 on Twitter/X. Getting you set and ready for this Sunday night primetime matchup between the 5-5 Los Angeles Rams and the 8-2 Philadelphia Eagles on a 6-game winning streak. Rams will get the win. Every other team will come out at 6-5 in the division for some really sweet theater down the stretch. Thanks so much, everybody. We will see you again tomorrow on the Los Angeles Rams Insider Pod.